You get your thing yet? Your Max?
What'd you say?
You get your Max yet? Did it come? Pro Max?
My
Pro Max.
Oh, you said Max. I thought you said Mac. No, it can't come yet. It's tomorrow's the release date. So
Oh,
yeah, so it'll be here.
What's
It'll be
up,
here.
fellas? Hey, man, what's going on, man? You dress like you in Anchorage.
oh man.
The
It's,
Eagles didn't get killed this week, did they?
oh, we had a bye. But I tell you what,
Oh.
we're not at the bottom of the but our bye, we're not at the bottom.
At the bottom of the NFC, just not the bottom of your division, right?
Oh well, I felt like that was a little jab, but I was talking about the power rankings. But since you want
So
to
that's a jab, right?
see, I mean,
So
God.
Listen, I don't have a white flag. I looked for it. I don't have a white flag. I'm waving the white flag for the 49ers. Like all the hopes and dreams of this season are dashed. However, I can say
you guys play Brady this week, don't you?
what I can say is, boy, what a year it's been to be AC. So here's my situation. I know you guys know this, but let me just let everybody else know. So earlier in 2020, my football team went to the Super Bowl. My football team lost the Super Bowl to Trey's 8th team. You know, Trey's got a different team every week. So we lost to Kansas City. I believe he actually had on Kansas City gear when we went to go see that game. It was very embarrassing. The rest of us had on 49er gear, including his wife. Shout out to Britt. But listen, made it to the championship, right? Then we go on. This is intense. Let me turn this one off. That's better. Then we go to the Lakers going to the championship and winning. Then we go to the Dodgers going to the championship and winning. So my teams all went to the championship, and then 2 out of 3 won. So I've had a great 2020, and we're only in November. Well, all things considered, because the rest of 2020 has been horrible. So let me put that in perspective. For sports, it's been great for 2020 for my team. Now go, Trey. Your team's still under 500, but leads your division.
We're in first place.
I said leads your division.
First place. You referred
Hey,
to
I no longer watch the NFL. So what happened last week? Philly had a bye. What did you guys do, Rod? You guys win?
We won. Yeah.
Who'd you guys beat?
San Diego.
Okay, that's a really good team, Trey. I think we should make the Raiders first.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they played a game, so of course they should be first.
No, it's not. It's not that simple, because if they would have played us and beat us, then I probably would have made Philly first. Because the 49ers are not putting up a fight.
Whoa, he just shaded his own team, right?
I waved the white flag. I said it. All right, so Raiders, Eagles,
47.
LA,
40,
Boise State.
He keeps killing Boise State. Something is going on with you and Boise State.
Nah, it's all good. Hey, so champs, right? World Series champs. I know we kind of did this, but I actually have the gear now. So shout out to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So check out the Legal Hustle gear. TheLegalHustle.com. That's where you can find the gear. You can find hoodies, t-shirts, all that is TheLegalHustle.com. Yeah, so but checking in, we have a lot to unpack. Thank you for tuning in to the Collective Podcast. This is episode 37, and we are continuing the trend, and we are live. So welcome back, gentlemen. I
will chime in real quick and say, a lot of times we buy apparel and I've looked on different sites, and they say, "Oh, I like the gear, but I don't like some of the colors, or I wish they had it in this color or that color." I can say I just purchased the Legal Hustle hoodie, and I love the colors. They have
Okay.
some tight colors. So if you're out there, you tuned in, go look at the colors and look at the price, and you can't beat it. You
Well,
always want value for your money. You can't beat it. Seriously.
well, I appreciate that, and I want to let you know that while we only had the gray logo gear prior to yesterday, we've now introduced black logo gear also. So there's even more of a variety. All the colors are still there. We have t-shirts with the logo in the middle and the logo on the side, and then we have either gray or black logos. So we're good to go.
And I saw the Dodger blue one that you had on the other day. That one was real nice too.
Thanks, Trey.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
bought,
thank you
I
for
bought
that.
military green.
The military.
Yeah, I love that. Love it.
Okay. Well, all right. So the Collective Podcast, episode 37 live,
Bam.
sponsored by The Legal Hustle. I am AC from LA. He is Baby Hair 562. He is Trey Hot. Now, Rodney, here's the thing. You are on Twitter, and you're not on Twitter as Baby Hair 562. I believe that's your Instagram name. So what's your Twitter handle?
You know what? I just, well, I had some identity theft issue. So I just got a new Twitter, and I haven't even really looked at the Twitter handle. So I'll share that with you.
So you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. It's Rod 084234685217 ABC at AOL.com. That is his Twitter handle because he's reminiscing. Hey, somebody emailed me the other day, somebody that I do some officiating related stuff with, and he said, "Hey, I sent you an email and I see that you didn't get it, so I'm sending it to you again. I apparently I sent it to your old address." And he sent it to anthony.carter@msn.com. And here's the thing, no shade on anyone who uses msn.com, but that's never been me. That was never my address. So that had to have been someone else's email address, or I don't know. He got it wrong. So it was funny. So I was like, "Oh no, that was never mine." And he was like, "No, I got it to the right one now." And I'm like, "Yeah, I get that, but that was never my address." And I, because I'm kind of possessive with like what I do rock with. I rock with obviously the Apple products and .mac, .me, .iCloud, or iCloud.com, me.com, mac.com, and of course Gmail. But outside of that, even when everybody had AOL, I had Earthlink. I was never trying to be like everyone else. And I Hotmail, Yahoo, nah, no thanks. So, all right, man. Listen, a lot to unpack. Thanks again for tuning in to episode 37. Yo. So let's recap. Super Bowl. Rodney didn't have a horse in the race. Basketball, Rodney had the Clippers. Baseball, Rodney had the Nationals. We didn't really talk about the general election, but I want to say he probably had Ronald McDonald Trump. I don't know. Like that's the kind of year you've been having when you pick before the championship.
No. We can't even say that. I know he didn't have that. We can't even say that name.
Well, I said Ronald McDonald Trump.
To him as a number.
45.
Hey, you know what? What I will say is early on, it didn't look good for Joe.
Oh, you didn't want me to pull up that post, did you, Rod?
I don't care. But it didn't look good early on. And I said that.
I was never worried.
Well, that was another discussion because there seemed to be an increase in black male voters for 45. So I was worried. And I'm worried about why that increase is occurring for someone who was so dismissive of our issues. I know some people probably did it to save some coins on their tax return or for their business, and they just voted their own self-interest, but I just don't respect people like that. I mean, and this has been going on since the beginning of the time. I mean, we probably wouldn't be in the United States if some tribal chiefs hadn't sold out for a few coins and said, "Hey, the Hobson, Carter, and Saucier family, they're right over there in the bushes. Go get them.
Right.
Hey, put them on these ships and send them to, the Caribbean or America." I mean, like, it's been that way, and that part is never going to change, whether we want to admit it or not. And I like to be realistic with stuff, and that part is never going to change. There are always going to be racists, and there are always going to be.
Well, this is the part of the show, ladies and gentlemen, where well, you're muted, AC. AC, you're muted.
Yeah, my bad. Rodney's not muted, but this is the part of the show where Rodney and his Android and his tablet and his PC and everything non-Apple take over. And anyway, now Rodney's a popsicle. No shade on that because I've frozen before. That's why we were late, because I restarted my machine before we came on just so I would be sure that we were good to go. They were on time. Each of them were on time, and I was late. Trey, why don't you say something while Rodney tries to melt since he's still frozen?
Yeah. Are you hearing that static a little bit?
I'm not.
I'm getting a little feedback.
Oh.
I don't know if that's on my end or if that's coming from yours.
Oh.
Because every time you talk, I get the buzz, like static. But yeah, to go on further with Rod was saying, man, it's hard to respect people like that. I'm a huge Lil Wayne fan from back in the day, and after what he did, at a time like this, especially the way our world is and the way it's so divided, and the way that people of color is getting treated, for him to do what he did, I actually feel like it was a slap in the face, and I can't respect a guy like that. So as much as I love his music, it won't be on my playlist anymore. And this one hit hard. I'm a huge fan of 50's work. Power, my favorite show ever, best show ever. And now he has the one with Tariq. And I watched that one. Yes. And after
it's gone. The static is gone now, right?
Yes, static.
I had the wrong mic. So go ahead. So Power Book 2.
Yeah, Power Book 2. And after what he said, it's I think I'm gonna have to step away from that too. Like I literally had to have a conversation with myself and like, man, are you gonna watch this stuff? I was excited. His other show that comes on Fox, I don't know why my mind went blank.
Full Life.
Yeah, Full Life. I was a big fan of that too. But again, that's 50's work. And for him to say what he said, that, because of money or whatever, and he has money that he'll never be able to spend, he's gonna vote for somebody else because he doesn't want to be taxed. And it's money you can never touch. Your kids can never touch that money. And you would rather hold on to that and not get taxed. As fortunate as you are, and vote for somebody who's a total racist and hates your color. You know, that doesn't sit well with me at all. And it's hard to respect a person like that and support their craft. Like, they have to understand, we're the reason you are who you are. It's because of us. But yeah, man, it just you know, it hits home. But as far as the election goes, I wasn't worried. I knew the numbers in the beginning were going to go for Trump because he was telling his people, go out and vote. You know, he's a super spreader. He was telling them, go out, where Biden was telling all his people, send your ballot in, send your ballot in, send your ballot in. So when it was all these different ballots and millions and millions and millions of ballots going in, it would have been hard to tell me that those weren't for Biden. Especially, that's why Trump didn't want to count any vote after 8 p.m. because he knew he could get his super spreader people to go out and vote that day. But if Biden is practicing safety and, you know, stay COVID free and mail in and cast your vote through mail, you don't want those to count, because you know that's where the majority of our vote is going to come from.
Right.
The only one I was really worried about was Pennsylvania, because I mean, if you're down almost 700,000 votes,
Say that again.
you know what I mean? 700,000 votes.
Hey,
That's a tough one to overcome, because not
700,000.
only do you have to catch up and become even, you gotta have, you know what I mean? You gotta get ahead. So that was a tough one, but you know, man, God is good, man, and God don't like ugly. And you see this man's true colors by him not conceding or anything. Still thinking, and has these clowns thinking that he's still president, or there's some hope for him to still be president. And these people that work under him is just ridiculous. No spine, no backbone, none of that. And I wish it was something that could prevent this man from running in 4 years. Like, they could just come out with a new law for him. Like, no, you can't even, we don't even want this anymore. You know, because I feel like in 4 years he might try to run again.
Well, I definitely think that we're there where he will run again. So it's a really interesting dynamic for me. What I'm hoping though, Trey, is that his own people are so disgusted by his behavior when the dust settles. You know, for those that have had the wool pulled over their eyes, but will see the light at some point that this was all a ruse. I'm hoping that they will not support him when all is said and done the next time around. AC afternoon.
And see,
Um,
and here's the last thing that I really wanted to touch on. Biden has the most votes ever in an election.
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
74 million votes, something like that, right?
75 plus, actually.
Right, 75
Yeah,
million.
he's approaching 76 last time I checked. Last time that I checked.
Number 2 in the history is Trump, with the amount of votes that he got. It just lets us know the work that Biden has ahead for him. Because in 2016, if Trump would have got 70 million votes, you didn't know what type of clown he was.
Right.
But after watching him for 4 years and he still gets 70 million votes, that just lets us know as how far we are from normal.
Yeah.
And that
I agree.
In this world. That means half of the people that voted hate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's very scary.
Very scary. But you know, I said a prayer, man. I hope Biden can get in there for 8 years and do what he has to do. And then if Kamala has any type of hair left that's not gray after this 8 years, because I know it's going to be tough, then I wish she would run and we could get 8 years of her. That would be beautiful. Next 16 years. That would be awesome.
So to that end, Trey, I'm with you, but I actually think that we might be in a situation where Joe might hand over the keys after 4. And so it might be what you're talking about, but 12 years of that group instead of 16. Like he might not want to, he might just be tired after the first and not want to go a second. And then of course it would clearly be her party, and all of the power would be behind her, you know, to keep that essentially keep that ticket in office, or keep that keep those people in play.
Right.
So I don't know if it's 2 terms for him or not, but to your point, I'm hoping the exact same thing that you're hoping. However long he wants to go, I'm hoping that we keep him there and that she follows for 8. Bet. Hey, I'm not mad at that. I want a cheesesteak, man. As a matter of fact, Brianna had what's it called? Charlie's yesterday. She had a cheesesteak yesterday. Yep. All right, Rod. Well, we can't see you, but it's okay. You're back. You have audio?
Yeah, all kind of stuff going on over here.
Yeah, I know that the whole running water thing is confusing and all of that. I know it's taking a while for you to get adjusted and acclimated. So the last thing that Trey said before you came on was that he was hoping for 2 full terms from Joe Biden and then 2 full terms from Kamala Harris to follow. So 16 years of sanity is what Trey is looking for, as opposed to 4 years of insanity. Oh my goodness, did you lose Ronald McDonald 45? He did. He did lose after 4 years. So we didn't even get a chance to talk about Mike Pence. And how does Mike Pence feel? He seems like a little puppy running behind Trump, but I've always wondered if he was just waiting for his time, or if he is just that puppy and he has no intention of trying to be the guy 4 years from now. And then to your point, Trey, if 45 tried to run again, would Pence be his ticket mate?
Oh no, he would. Oh, that'd be clown on clown. Oh boy.
Well, they got the 71 million votes and counting. Also, to your point.
Right. Yeah, I think they both should be banned. Just banned. They should both be banned.
Well, they definitely got a lot of supporters that love them, that's for sure. Which is scary.
Very.
But it was, you know, it was needed. We needed to see who feels what way.
Yeah.
And we needed to see what we need to work on. And we definitely have, when I say we, people of color, have things to work on. It's not just all 45. It's us.
Right.
And once Joe won, you know, I said, hey, we're back on the clock again, because sometimes we could jump out the frying pan into the fire. We don't really know what he has in store for us. We hope, and we know that compared to what we had, no, I'm sure he won't be worse.
Yeah, we know, if anything, we know he's not racist.
See, I think that's oversimplifying it. I can't in good conscience agree with Rodney that we hope it's not out of the frying pan and into the fire. There is zero, like, we got the fire after the frying pan lost. Like, we're on fire right now because that fool is compromising the country. I agree with some of what you're saying, because unless someone has led the country before, then we really don't know what to expect. But then again, we don't necessarily know what to expect from term to term. But when I look at how he's evolved as a person and as a leader throughout the course of his career and throughout the course of his lifetime, 78 years plus. I like who I see he is now. I think that the Barack Obama tutelage was extremely important. Even though he's older, it was extremely important in his maturation as a person and as a leader and as the penultimate leader, as the president of the United States. And I think that it wasn't an accident that Kamala Harris was chosen. And I think, we've seen the evolution of Kamala Harris, and she's still growing. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, and she's still growing. I'd say that I am very excited about what they are about to do, and I'm not saying that I'm blind or running into it blindly, but I think that there's a big difference between being cautiously optimistic and being fearful of what's about to occur. Now, when we talk about what that administration, that's the term I was looking for earlier, what that administration has to deal with, that was left behind by the prior administration, that's one thing. But Rodney, you said it, and I think this was after you came back from the Game of Thrones cave moments ago. You said, we know what we have to work on, right? And I believe that you're talking about as a country, right? But what we have to work on, let's say as the Democratic Party, to stop some of the infighting together, but also to heal, right? To heal the country. So no, I believe
I wasn't speaking for the country or for the Democratic Party. I was speaking for people of color when I said
okay. Right. Okay. So then with that, what we have to do, I believe that independent of what we are doing as people of color, we still have to have somebody leading the country right now, right? And it's clear that the people of color are the people that put that administration over the top. It's documented. That's why those cases are being fought in court right now. So if we talk about the tutelage of Barack Obama, we talk about the evolution of him, we talk about the evolution of Kamala Harris, and also that person of color being that second point of contact, if you will, in the administration, I'm saying, and I'm glad that you clarified what you meant by we have things to work on, then I think that we don't have to fear jumping into the fire. I'm not saying we'll agree with everything that occurs, but I couldn't have envisioned what we just went through and what we're still going through for the next 70-something days. If you could have envisioned this hell, then I understand. But I never saw. I didn't vote for him, and I didn't think anyone should take him seriously and vote for him that first time around, let alone the second time around. But I didn't know we were going to be where we are. Did you?
Nobody did. I actually know somebody. I was going to say I know somebody near and dear to my heart, who was one of my mentors, African American gentleman, was a longtime teacher at Long Beach Poly, and he voted for him. And then he was, ashamed he did so, because he finally got to see that he not only is only a reality TV star, real estate mogul who is not very good at that. He just happened to inherit a ton of cash to do what he does, but he's not competent enough to do what he was supposed to do as a leader. So I believe they are, rethinking that decision. I don't believe he voted for him this time around. So, even though a lot of the people of color I know that did support him the first time around, they've had a change of heart, because now we're talking about moral compasses and people having some type of empathy for people who don't have $400,000 in the bank. So, it's very telling. I think, Trey said it earlier, Yes, Biden got 70 million, but so did Trump. And that's kind of where I am with what Rod says. It's people of color. We got a lot of work to do because now look at all those red states that we don't even feel comfortable at now because it's not even ingrained in economic position. It's more of a racial position for those who have overlooked our position. Like you have not even considered our plight when you vote for that man because you see what he incites. And it's scary right now that he won't concede, which means they are buying in to the idea that this was a robbed election, which we know is not true. So, you know, I'm concerned. I'm going to continue to stay prayerful, but, you know, I'm hopeful this new administration, I'm not Democratic or Republican. I'm more of an independent. I'm for the people. Whoever's for the people, I'm for that. So, you know, I'm optimistic to that, but at the same time, I'm concerned because we got a crazy man for the next 70 days and he can do whatever he wants to do, apparently.
Yeah.
And I think
I agree.
he's self-centered and he's selfish. And he's like, if I don't win, nobody's going to win. That's his mentality. And if Trump really, I'm sorry, I said his name, at 45, really thought that he won in 4 years, guys, has it been 7 days that you have not heard this man's voice? He hasn't said not one word. If he thought for 1% that he truly won this election, he would have been having press conference after press conference after press conference talking about cheating this, cheating that. They're doing this, they're doing that. I won. And this, that. He's been radio silent, sending out tweets. Radio silent.
Well, Fox News cut him off, I heard.
Yeah, they cut him off. He was in the middle of saying all this gibberish, and they just said, you know what, enough with that, because they know he's just spreading just nonsense. And people are listening to it, buying into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can just imagine what this transition is going to be like. Well, we probably can imagine what this transition is going to be like. He's not going to leave any type of information for the next administration to use to help the country. He would rather let this country go in chaos and go completely insane before he releases something, because he has the mentality of a spoiled child. And so it's like, hey, if I'm not winning, if it's not me, I'm taking everything with me. And he has that mentality. And so we may see a decline before we start to see a rise. I just hope that the decline is not sharp enough to where the country can't completely recover and then progress. Because it may take Biden's whole 4 years to correct it. You know, that the 4 years that he's in there may be to try to clean up things, and he may not actually get a chance to, you know, implement things that he wants until that's done. I mean, you know, and it's very key. I think someone put some, AC's mom put the comment about the judicial system. You know, he's filled up all these courts with judges who think like him. You know, they got to make rulings on all of this stuff. So they may block everything that Biden tries to accomplish, even if he has our, you know, well, if he has intentions for us or not, they may try to block everything. We just don't know. So like Cobb said, you know what, I'm prayerful, and all we can do is just try to wade through the water, but we don't know. And especially, I don't put faith in either one of them. I'm glad that idiot is out, but I don't put faith in anybody at this point anymore. You know, that's just my thinking. And I didn't think it could get as bad or worse than Reagan, and I still say Reagan is the worst. And that nothing will change my mind about that. He 45 did a lot of talking, but as far as putting a lot of things that he wanted to do in action, he wasn't always successful. Reagan was successful, and that's why they cherish Reagan and love him to death.
Yeah, so I listen. I know Rodney was a full-grown adult when Reagan was in office.
He was a close second.
Yeah, so I vehemently disagree. Can't hear me?
With him being worse than Reagan, or what?
Yeah, I vehemently disagree with you saying that Reagan was the worst. We are
the worst by far.
Yeah, am I delayed or something? We're on tape delay? Are we back in the 80s?
No.
Okay. No, this is what I'm saying. You have a guy who became president and has incited racists to stand up and be counted. He has, listen, Rod, like, all jokes aside about you being a full-grown adult when Reagan was in office, I know you weren't, but you could see the change in tone in the country the day after this fool was elected. People started running up on people using the N-word more loosely, and there's more of this racial violence just out in front. So I'm not even talking about policy. Let's talk about personality. Let's talk about belief system. And these like-minded individuals, like, he latched on to the people who want to actually do damage to us specifically. And this is not about policy. This ain't even about him getting richer. This is about, let's eradicate the blacks and the browns. That wasn't Reagan to me. Eradicate the blacks and the browns. Stand down and stand by. Stand down and stand by, Rod.
But it's rhetoric. It's rhetoric. Reagan actually implemented. Hold on, because I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Reagan actually implemented Iran-Contra. You can't get worse than that when you can flood every major city with cocaine and lock people of color up 3 times to 1, basically on a ratio of white people. There are people that's still getting out of prison for drug offenses in the 80s today, and that doesn't include how many kids were born addicted to crack that were immediately labeled special needs, who will never be able to get the kind of lifestyle that they should based on IEPs and all other stuff. And then you have how many black families were torn apart that we won't recover from for hundreds of years.
I hear
Trump didn't do that.
But we're on the verge of people walking around in white sheets and white cone hats if this dude was reelected. Like, we're on the verge of it now.
That's fine.
How is that fine?
That's fine. But we know who they are.
But we don't know who all of them are. We know who more are because of who Trump is.
Those things were going on in the 80s too, AC.
Yeah, but it wasn't so, like, we didn't know about it. It was kind of hidden. Like,
it wasn't hidden. We just social media. It wasn't hidden at all. Social media helps him, but it wasn't hidden at all.
Rodney, listen, the same age that we're in 2020 in November, we were in 2016 in November. The big difference is the guy leading the country with this big platform, inspiring all of these people to do worse. That's what I'm saying. Like that. So I hear what you're saying.
But inspiring for them to do worse and actually doing it is 2 different things. We're talking about Reagan actually did it.
They're doing it. What do you
mean? They're doing what we see on broadcast.
You're saying
there's no what I'm saying is there's no uptick in what they're doing.
So
I don't understand how someone inspiring people to be racist compares with tearing families apart with crack. I don't see how that
people are actually getting killed, Rodney, and it's being encouraged at the highest point of the government. People are actually dying, and it's being applauded. He is trying.
On a
Okay,
large scale? On a large scale?
On the largest
Massive.
scale. On the largest scale.
You're saying that many black people of color are dying at the hands of white on a large scale, as opposed to how many were dying from drug overdoses from crack in the 80s? There's no comparison.
I think the
No
difference
comparison.
is crack use was sort of a choice, whereas the racial positioning we have to endure is not something we choose. So yes, crack was dropped off in the hood, and we had no say, and brothers took to it, started slinging it, and we started making junkies, and a lot of families were destroyed. And that whole era was horrible for African Americans, for the crack epidemic, for incarceration. However, right now, what we see is lawful lynchings, and the numbers don't match. No, crack was probably way more as far as numbers, but I was able to distance myself from drug use. I'm not able to distance myself from the Trump supporters that have semi-automatic rifles calling me the N-word, and my son having to live in this as a young man who is looking like a grown man at 15. I'm more afraid for his life versus the the extreme white nationalists, whatever they want to call themselves, as opposed to, hey man, stay away from these drugs. It's two different things. I know they were both horrible, but I would have to say this administration had me more afraid of World War III than Ronald Reagan's administration.
Yeah.
So it's just two different things, right? I see what you're saying as far as numbers, but I do believe those who removed themselves from the crack, from drugs, they were able to navigate through the 80s. As I saw, people like my dad who were actually incarcerated because of crack. I know how it affected us. But my dad chose that stuff. He chose to party and have that stuff in his life and to sell that stuff. So it was more of a choice than it was forced upon him. So it's a little bit different, and you're going to get different opinions on who's worse. I do think Trump is probably the worst president in my estimation of all times. I shouldn't have said his name because we probably can get shut down. But 45, that's just an opinion, man. But I see what you're saying, Rob. I agree with PC that this is probably worse to me.
I understand both points.
Yeah, and we support you, Rod. I'd say that just let me close with this. Think about the fact that we've never had a problem saying Reagan, Reaganomics. Like we can say Reagan. Like we cringe when we hear this other guy's name, and it's not just because he's an idiot. Because there are plenty of idiots whose names we say. Like this dude's name just evokes emotions that I've never felt before.
Division, like pick a
Yeah,
side. It's just
yeah,
pick a side.
yeah,
It's straight pick a side.
yeah.
Right.
But
But the whole reason we stopped saying his name is because he craved attention and used that as a way to say, see, everyone's talking about me, and we didn't want to give him that attention, right? Isn't that how that took off?
well, that's
Well,
part of it. But when
Zuckerberg
we're talking behind the scenes, he can't hear us. We're still not saying
No,
his.
but I'm saying we refrained from using his name because we didn't want to give him any attention. Overall, and when I say we, I'm not just talking about the four of us. I'm talking about society who decided to not use his name because
get
he
shut
was
down.
using that as all of these are my supporters.
We don't want to get shut down by Zuckerberg because right now, when I
That
would
too.
say, I would type something on a comment, and it would be opposite of what they would like for you to be saying, and my comment would not go through. It would say try again. It would say, it was the algorithms and the keywords were all in effect, man. So I think that's one reason why we stopped saying it, because we know everything we do are being watched. Like I talked to a bunch of police officers, and they were like, "Yeah, everything you guys text, everything you guys write in social media, we got records, and we're looking for keywords, we're looking for key things, so we can kind of pinpoint who's who." So all the information that's out there is kind of creepy, man. And now that we have somebody who is an attention monger in office, and at least for the next 70 days or so, we we got to be cautious of how we speak because now we're being watched to a point where who is who? This country is divided. We need to know who's on our side. Who can we attack? So
Hmm.
it's all suspect. I don't trust anybody anymore, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Trey and Rod, is it just me or is Anthony's mic a little light?
It's light.
It's like
Yeah. It's
Okay.
lower.
it's probably too far away. How about now?
No,
Talk again.
Still low? Test.
Yeah, it's low.
it's still
All
low.
right. Come on, phone. I'm gonna have to go back to my laptop. I'm gonna check in on my laptop.
Okay. Yeah, so all love, Rod. So listen, and this is what I love about these guys. By the way, that was Anthony Cobbs. He's coming back, but you know, he's our regular guest, right? That's somebody that Rod grew up around, somebody that Rod went to high school with, somebody I went to college with. You know, we get down with him.
Why don't we just put him on?
I'm down with that.
You know what I mean? Cool cat, brother. I like him.
I wonder if his schedule can handle it because he's got a lot of podcasts going on.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
just fortunate.
He's on almost every night.
Yeah, but yeah, I would have him. So I'll let Rod negotiate that behind the scenes. So here's my thing. Rodney and I completely disagree about the severity of the damage done by Reagan and Trump, but we can have political discussions. Like, here's the thing: there are people in my life that I can't have political discussions with because I read the post and it's like, oh, okay, we're still cool, but I need to avoid having that conversation with you. And not something as simple as is Reagan worse or is Trump worse, and this is why Reagan's worse or this is why Trump's worse. But you know, the whole we shouldn't vote. Voting don't do nothing. That I can't get behind that. Somebody said to me the other day, y'all let me know when y'all elect y'all president. Well, you live here too until you don't. But so I just don't have the conversations, right? and
I've heard that before.
And I'm not even talking about the person who like extricated herself from my life and had a battle with Trey on Instagram. I'm not even talking about her because I don't know what she does because she can, you know, fall off of something for all I care. I'm talking about people I actually get down with. It's like, all right, I got to draw the line somewhere. And if I want to keep it cordial or keep it love, then we can't have certain discussions. With Trey, it's completely different. We don't have to agree, but that's the thing. We're here to evoke thought. And
at the end of the day, we can agree to disagree.
Yes,
move on from it. Don't nobody have to be right.
And I'm going to tell you, to Trey's point, my relationship, which was my relationship with Brianna, which was on a pretty fast track from the beginning, took off when we got to a point where we both understood, and it was really just her understanding, that it was okay for us to agree to disagree. Because I've always been someone, hey, we can agree to disagree. It's all good. But in her experiences or in her past experiences, she was more so used to we got to hash it out. Listen, we're both right or we're both half wrong or we're both wrong. I don't care. We talked it out. We haven't come to we've come to the conclusion that we can't come to the same conclusion. But the conclusion that we have come to is that we had a cordial conversation about it and we don't agree. Boom.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in this situation, I don't completely disagree. There are certain things that when you guys make a point about it, I actually agree with. And then they're just overall with this particular thing, and especially after I've taught special ed for a number of years and had drug addicts in my family, close drug addicts in my family. And I saw the way things went down where parents would leave their kids at home for like a week or two, just off doing drugs in some cheesy motel, kids left at home to fend for themselves. If you got an older sister that's like 14, 15, she's trying to do what she can to feed the younger siblings hot dogs or top ramen or whatever. And then she's got an older boyfriend who probably sells dope, and she hasn't been finished. She hasn't finished being taught how to be a woman by her mom. So she's left at home. She gets pregnant, and now she can't even teach her children how to be who they're supposed to be because she never learned. And it's a repetitive cycle. So now you got these grown-ups who act like kids because they never finished growing up. And it's a repetitive cycle. And then the kids, some of them born addicted to a substance get labeled. Oh, well, they're ADD, they're ADHD. We need to put them on Ritalin. And then even special needs kids grow up and have children. And then those kids are not functioning right. So that's what I mean by when I say there's going to be years before the effects of crack are out of our system. And they may never correct, as far as the teenage pregnancies and all of that stuff that was going on, and the kids the younger siblings who weren't being taught anything by the older sibling because the older sibling was trying to be grown, they're likely to be incarcerated or do something crazy. And then a lot of broken homes with dads who had good jobs with the city of Long Beach or wherever they were, city of LA. All those jobs were gone and given to white guys because and I just told someone this on Facebook the other day. It looked good for white people because with all of the black young men and Hispanic young men being incarcerated, it affected the job market. So when you look at the numbers, it's like, oh, job growth. There are openings out here. And at that time, those jobs were paying good money to work at the post office, to work at Pacific Bell back in the day. You could make a living, a good living with good benefits. And now that's changed, but all of those jobs were given to young white guys coming out of high school. And when you flood an area with a specific thing, more than likely people are going to turn to it, especially when they're already impoverished. And that's always been a fact. That's why they keep liquor stores and now vape shops and smoke shops in the hood, because they know at some point you start feeling down and depressed about something, you're probably going to go to the store or the vape shop or the smoke shop and get you something. I remember I reffed a high school playoff game at, what was that? Is that Palisades High School up there in Pacific Palisades, like kind of in the hills?
Yeah.
And I was running. Oh, AC, I talked to you that day. But I went up there and I left. I had so much traffic on the freeway that I didn't get a chance to eat before I left. So I'm driving all over the place in that area. They didn't have one fast food establishment. Not one. I stopped. I saw a lady jogging down the street and I said, "Hey, is there a Chipotle or McDonald's or anything around here?" She's like, "Oh no, we don't have fast food in this city."
Yeah, you got to go all the way up to Sunset from there.
I mean, it completely blew my mind. It completely blew my mind that there wasn't one, not one.
What city?
He's talking about Palisades. So, so it's Trey, and I know Anthony knows too, but Trey can tell you because he's not too far from there. But it's either PCH, where surprisingly they do have a KFC and a McDonald's, like right before you go up the hill, or it's on Sunset where they don't really have fast food, but you have QSRs like Quiznos. Wait, Quiznos still in business? Last time I was up there, Quiznos was still open and probably have Subway and stuff, but nothing in between. Like just like
Beverly Hills either. Beverly Hills, if you go up and down like Rodeo Drive, Beverly Drive, there's no fast food places in Beverly Hills. Reason is because everything shuts down. Most of Beverly Hills shuts down at 5 o'clock. You know, all the shopping stores, like if you go to like Gucci and stuff like that, 5, 6 o'clock, they're closed.
Ladies and gentlemen, Trey again.
I'm just saying.
Show us your Gucci watch. Come on.
Stop it.
Show us your Gucci belt. Stop it.
The only thing that's open is Subway. And that Subway out there closes at like 7 o'clock.
But tell us about Gucci. Do they give you champagne, Trey?
No, stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Hey, so my mom is on, right? This is what my mom used to do. She lived in Carson. She lives in Carson. She's got a house in Carson. Judy Carter would make a trek, would embark on a journey to Ralph's. Is it Ralph's or Vaughn's? Vaughn's in Beverly Hills so that she could get the mass Breyers ice cream assortment of flavors. They didn't sell peach Breyers in the hood, but Judy Carter would go to Beverly Hills to get peach Breyers straight up, and whatever else they had. She would bring all the flavors, and then she would stop by my apartment like, "Hey Tony, you know I lived in Palms." She would come by and drop some ice cream off to me, like, "Where you get this one from? I never saw this." "Oh, it's in Beverly Hills." "Oh, okay." Good looking mom. Yeah.
Ooh, I am not mad at her.
She never stopped at Gucci though. Trey would have to tell her about that one.
Stop it.
Speaking of which, are we still doing Gucci? Because I thought we were off that. Did like people forget?
I never did.
I didn't either. But you know, I noticed that some of the same people that were boycotting the NFL were still buying Gucci, and I just it didn't make sense to me.
That was for a short time, but I can literally say I haven't bought nothing Gucci in 5 years since I've had kids. Easy.
Because I wanted some Gucci guilty. So when I saw the face mask with the coon mask, I was like, no, that's some cologne I just won't be able to get.
Well, hey, have you check this out? Have you guys bought any?
I'm dead serious. I mean, you're laughing, but I'm dead serious.
Did you say have we bought what?
Any Gordon Gartrell lately?
Gartrell? Yeah, I think I let Theo wear mine. The
last I guess she left. All right, so we're 58 minutes in, and we haven't even talked about any sports yet. So Anthony Cobbs is going to give us inside information on whether or not we'll still have college football in 14 days. Anthony Cobbs is also going to give us insight on whether or not we'll have the NFL in 21 days. And
I ain't got nothing, man.
And the NBA is starting before Christmas.
All I know is if the Sixers pick up James Harden, I'm going to need a new team because we're going to be doing ISO, desperation kickouts, and Joel Embiid is going to fight James Harden. Game 2. I just know that free agency is next week. It's going to be interesting. I believe Serge Ibaka is going to be a Laker, if not already a Laker. So it's going to be interesting to see where Westbrook lands because I know he's done in Houston. And I heard that James Harden is trying to force his way up to Philadelphia to be with Morey. You know, and we don't know what Rondo going to end up. And we heard Kawhi's recruiting Chris Paul. So I hope it all shakes out. And we got some good matchups this season coming up. If I'm going to wrap that up, it's just free agency is on the brink of happening. And it's going to happen big for a couple teams. And NFL play tonight. I don't know. NCAA, UCLA got beat by a team they should have beat. It's the same old deja vu all over again. So our game got pushed from Friday to Saturday night, and now it's a question if you're going to play at all because Utah ain't got enough players. I had too many players on the COVID-19 list. So now we're trying to get the ASU game bumped up to this week. And now that it's Thursday, and I'm not sure if Utah can field enough players, so we don't know what's going to happen. So keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Oh, speaking of
that Serge Ibaka, I heard he was looking for houses out here.
Yes, sir.
So that's
But then again, Chip Kelly sold his house to Mookie Betts. That don't mean he's leaving. So I hope Chip Kelly leave town.
yeah. So Chip Kelly has been very much a thorn in my side throughout his football career. And
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, let me recap. So he's just always been annoying, first of all. But then he wiggled his way in to be the coach of the San Francisco 49ers. And then and I didn't want him then, and I don't want him now. And I was talking to Rod the other day, and I was like, with all the COVID-19, certain things I forgot. I forgot that Chip Kelly was the coach of UCLA football. And I'm like, is he still here? Goodness gracious.
I hit college, and I'm like, I'm not used to seeing UCLA football look this terrible. Like
dumpster fire, man.
That hurts my soul.
Listen,
I'm not used to that.
I was on Facebook the other day, and Big Bailey, who's John Bailey Sr., Toby and Moose's dad, was talking about the plight of UCLA football and how he was ready to give up his season tickets, and just how bad it is, like with Chip Kelly. And
he said we got a plight.
Yeah. So he's ready to give up season tickets, and if it wasn't bad enough that is where we stand. One of his friends jumped on there and said, "Go SC." So I had to shut that down because, like, how does that go away?
At least SC is going. They got they found a way to win the game. We should have found a way to win.
Right.
But then
a long drive to Pasadena sometimes to see that.
Man.
But something Trey may not know because he doesn't really get on Facebook. Trey's brother then hopped on to Big Bailey's post and essentially co-signed it and said that he gave up his season tickets.
We just gave him up.
Yeah, gave up the season tickets. A lot because Elle is in high school. Eric's daughter's in high school now, but also just because what can you do with those tickets when you don't go? And people don't really have time to go. At the age that Trey and Eric are now, retired people like Rodney have time to go, but Long Beach State doesn't have football, and he can't get to Howard readily. So
Howard football is terrible. I saw it in person.
I really would have worked football in that conference if given the opportunity. I did work basketball in that conference, but I was not given the opportunity to work football. But that's a different story.
Work it. You can suit up now. You can suit up and play. It's so bad. We can. All four of us can start. We can start right now.
Nah, man. Yeah, Mr. Lowe, if you're listening, if you're watching, I would still work for you. Okay, letting you know. Yeah. So very, very interesting. Somebody mentioned Mookie Betts buying a house. For all of you that didn't realize what you were just hit with, you were hit with the greatest player in baseball coming to the Dodgers and changing the game. Shout out to Mookie Betts once again. I think Mookie Betts should probably play for the 49ers in the offseason because we probably win a couple more games.
He could definitely get you some first downs on third down.
He should
right across the middle.
Right?
No, what's a trip is I sent AC a clip of Mookie Betts running routes. The dude could ball.
Yeah, he was doing it. He was doing it all. He was dunking. We know what he does in baseball. He was dunking. He was running routes. Yeah, but I told y'all, like, he is just that once in a generation.
Well, who's better athlete, OBJ or Mookie Betts?
Mookie Betts.
Whoa, Mookie Betts over OBJ?
Yes.
You seen OBJ do soccer, basketball, baseball? Yeah. He's pretty impressive, man.
Yeah, he's up there.
I would love to see that head-to-head.
Yeah, but
Mookie bowled a perfect 300. So can OBJ kill everybody in ping pong or one of those other sports that
might be the deal killer at 300.
Yeah, and see, Mookie can also. So here's the thing: Mookie can also play soccer. But here's the other thing: Mookie is the best player in his sport. So I think that just shuts down the argument right there, because
Trout fans gonna argue that. Tatis fans will argue that
he wasn't even nominated for MVP this year, so they could. So now we can shut that down.
Well, it's a short season. They're gonna still ride with him. It's like Trump Biden. It's just
right.
Yeah,
that's
what it's gonna be.
You like Trump, you gonna stay with him. You like, not to say, because I kind of like Trout. He's from Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing against him. He's just not Mookie. So
no, he ain't.
He's the LA Angels of Anaheim. He's their best, but he's not the best in LA. He's not the best in baseball, and it is what it is.
Like I said one time, I said Trout, he's a hell of a hitter, a power hitter. He can drive the ball, great at his position. But if Trout gets on first base,
he's staying on first.
Stuck on first base unless somebody hits the ball in the gap. You got to worry about Mookie on third base.
Mm-hmm. Were immediately labeled special needs.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, Rod.
Yeah.
What are the Nationals going to do in the offseason, Rod?
Why is Rod sitting in the dark?
Because he's got a lot going on. He's still wondering what happened to the Nationals and the Clippers.
You know the etiquette of being online, man. You need some light, bro.
We had some sunshine over here, and it just disappeared. And I got this, all this, Rasputia. She puts me in the back in the basement. So I'm in the dark.
This dude, Norbit.
Hey, baby. Yeah. So the kids get the light part of the house where the rooms are lighter, and I'm in my little Raider room where there's nothing but black and silver in here. Well, purple behind me. I got the room painted different colors for my teams.
Gotcha. So what's the red? You got the red and blue wall? Clipper?
I don't have a team that's red and blue.
Oh, you don't have the Clipper wall? Oh, I thought you'd had the Clipper, man. Oh.
Guess that would go for the Clippers and the Nationals, huh?
I know, right?
So, Cobbs, if you didn't understand, before all of this started, when we were making predictions on who was going to win what, this was at the time when LeBron was still getting punked by Patrick Beverly, and I said the Clippers would probably beat the Lakers in the playoffs. So they're not letting me live that down. And then the Dodgers had traded away their starting pitching, and they had rookies coming up left. So
you should not explain the Dodger one.
Yeah, I had the Clippers beating the Lakers, so I'll eat that.
Yeah, a lot of people did, and Laker fans had Clippers beating the Lakers.
It was,
but the Nationals had their whole team coming back, and the Dodgers had got rid of all their pitching. I didn't know much about Mookie besides what he did to the Dodgers in the championship. So I said there's a good chance the Nationals could repeat. I didn't know that they would just flop, the next season and decide they didn't feel like playing, but they flopped. They didn't have a reason to when they had like 20-game winner pitchers on their whole staff, but they did. So it is what it is. But I'm still a diehard Dodger, always have been, always been a Laker. I was a huge Dr. J fan, but I've always been a Laker fan, always been a Dodgers fan, always been a Raiders fan. Well, late on the Raiders, maybe somewhere around 78, 79, because I did San Francisco.
1878 and 79, ladies and gentlemen. 1878 and 79. So
he said 78, 79. I was like, you waited till you were 57?
Here we go.
Rodney, hey, I will allow you to share your screen so you can show your Newt Rockney picture. Well, you Newt.
and both of them have 18 teams to choose from. I got one.
Oh, wow. Is that right? 18 teams? Okay.
Win,
Rob.
lose, or draw. Win, lose, or draw.
Since you've known me, so here's the thing. I met you in 2008, and for 12 solid years, you knew 3 things about me: who I had in football, who I had in basketball, who I had in baseball. And that didn't change in baseball until Mookie Betts was traded. But I also let you know 1 month before it happened that when this happens, I'm gone, right? I did tell you that a month before the trade, right?
What was the deal? The last brother in Boston?
Yeah, like it was bad enough that they did this to me with Pedro in 2000, after the 2004
Is it
season.
my connection or is it his?
It's ACs.
You guys can't hear me?
Okay.
We can
I've
hear
been
you,
having
but your
connection.
camera
They've
keep
been
going
working
out.
on telephone.
Y'all, well, we know Ronnie got America Online,
Mine?
Yeah.
and Ronnie still got Earthlink.
I think he just upgraded to Earthlink, actually.
Yeah.
He just got pulled out.
He got ISDN.
Rodney's look like an old boxing match from the 80s.
Look like Alexis Arguello versus Aaron Pryor.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
It's an old John the Beast Mugabe versus Marvelous Morgan Hagler
Hagler fight, right?
on TV, where you had that one channel.
Not on TV. Goodness
Yeah,
gracious.
remember
Where you literally turned it.
Turn that key.
Turn one on. There's one
Uh-oh.
switch, and you get to see
Lighting?
you can see Larry Holmes fight Jerry Cooney.
Wow.
And Jerry Cooney hit Larry Holmes in the nuts 3 times.
Right.
Rodney Saucier, back from tape delay, ladies and gentlemen.
He got some light. I can see him now.
You got audio, Rob?
Oh, yeah.
He started a fire and got
Yeah.
some light.
Everybody keeps blinking.
Is it
Uh-oh.
reinvent the wheel?
Keep going.
Use fire for light.
Well,
So, Rod, whoever your ISP is, just get credit from them.
Right? Call him, get a credit.
Call up Spectre
Credit.
and tell them you need some money back, man.
He said, man, I was doing a podcast and I couldn't even hear myself talk.
Right, I couldn't. And nobody could hear me or see me.
Right.
I don't blame Trump.
Wow.
yeah.
No, he's going to blame Reagan.
Pulling the
He's
fact.
definitely blaming Reagan.
Blame
This is
Reagan.
after effect of the
The
Reagan
kids keep
administration.
getting
What it is. Right, this is you on the thing.
the kids keep getting bumped off their Zoom meetings.
You got the kids trying to learn online. You taking up all the bandwidth. Let the kids do their work first before you do a podcast in the middle of the day.
Look at AC.
Yeah. So that's what's up. So sports. Listen, I don't know.
Okay, so the NBA draft is coming.
Rodney really is on tape delay.
What you guys think about them? I know we spoke.
And what the
we
first
mentioned it, but we didn't talk on it.
We on final words. He said about the NBA draft is next week. Final words. LaMelo Ball should be #1 pick.
Hey, man, Magic Johnson just got drafted.
Well,
Right?
What I was getting to is, what do you think about the back and forth going on between LaMelo and his dad for him signing with Puma?
Oh, he went. What is that? His dad wanted him to sign with who?
Triple B.
Does that still exist?
Triple B.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no.
But our guy left, right? Lonzo.
Yeah, Lonzo keep blowing the fuse out in warm-ups.
Lonzo. Yeah.
Yeah, if he's smart. And see, like, if that was my dad, I'm sorry. But if that was my dad, I would just have to say, you know what? You can't come to the games. You can't. Like, anybody that you have to watch everything that come out of their mouth, and you're like, is he gonna embarrass me or cause harm to this family? You know what? You just got to let me go to work because this is my job. This is my career. Pops, I got you.
Here's the problem, Trey. Here's the problem. He's kind of a prophet, right? So he's kind of a prophet.
Except for Jello. He was wrong about that one.
Okay. Well,
You're two for three. You're not
you
bad.
still got some time, right?
No,
Well,
it's a wrap.
he's saying Jello is gonna make it now. Jello
Jello
was
gonna make
injured
it.
and
Jello can
now
play for the Chargers if he want to play some professional something.
Oh,
The Chargers got a tight end spot, defensive end spot. Jello's not playing in the NBA.
oh,
No, that's the middle one, right? That's China.
The chunky one, the one that was buying Gucci with you, he was buying, stealing Gucci glasses.
When I was at the register, he was taking it. That one.
He just took his on out the. He's walked on out with it.
wait. The youngest one is
Number one pick.
LaMelo.
Yeah, the
I
youngest
thought
one is
that
gonna
was
be
the middle one.
the middle one is trash.
They've always said the youngest one was the best one.
Right, I remember that, but I thought we had even more to look forward to. I didn't realize that
that's
was
it,
the
really.
youngest one.
He's two for three.
Oh.
The middle one was on the UCLA team, and after he got in trouble, and he wasn't going to get any time then. He was just on the team, but they released him, and you haven't heard from him since.
He tried out for
You
the
know
G
what?
League. It didn't work out.
Thank you. All right, so thanks for clearing that up. I had, as an official, I had what are they? Chino Hills. I had Chino Hills right after the coup. So right after the two of them left, and they actually came to the game that I had, and they were still really competitive. They played against Rancho Christian, and it was a pretty darn good game. But that's the only time I've actually seen them live. They were in the stands.
All three of them together, they were pretty impressive. But
Yeah.
Jello was the least athletic of them all.
Mm.
But Melo, of course, the baby brother gets all the skills because they beat him up. The cousin don't get no love.
They don't. Yeah, he gets no love. He was like 6'8", 6'9", the big man on their team, and you don't even hear about him anymore.
Okay. So Rodney, we voted and we voted between message in a bottle and smoke signal for your preferred method of communication going forward. And we agreed that you should just use a message in a bottle. So yeah, we're not waiting for you to use a microphone anymore because, you can't be 18 minutes behind every time we let you talk.
Morse code.
Yeah. Morse code. That was the write-in. Morse code was the write-in vote. Look at Kareem. Look at Kareem back there on AC's wall.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
sir.
That's the GOAT.
Abdul Jabbar. So on a somber note, coronavirus cases are exploding in the country. And listen, let me tell you guys something. I'm gonna share. So TV has pretty much been gone, like network television as far as the dramas, right? The 1 hour dramas. There's a new show called The Intern. It's not called The Intern. I forgot what it's called. I'll let you guys know in a second. But it's a pretty good show. It's filmed in Canada. And I was watching it yesterday, and then I went to watch the second half of it today. And then I saw in Hulu, my 3 shows were back. Chicago 1. So Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD. And in Chicago PD, you had the black cop Atwater, who ended last season going against the police, like his compadres, because he was with a cop who did wrong and wound up getting killed. And he wasn't going to lie for that cop. And this is before the pandemic. This is before George Floyd. And so to see them pick up from there and have him go through it it was interesting because he was like, yeah, there's all this blue stuff, but I'm still black. I need you guys to understand that. And it resonated with me because he wound up having to face police just as a black man, not as a cop. But something that really hit me was the show SWAT, which is Shamar Moore. And I know that a lot of people think that Shamar Moore is kind of a joke when it comes to acting, but the show SWAT is pretty good. It's pretty well written. And there's his dad on the show is Oba Babatunde, who was one of the stars of Dreamgirls in 1981 when the show that Rodney went to for his retirement on Broadway. You know, there's Cheryl Lee Ralph in that, and Loretta Devine and Oba Babatunde. There's a lot of people who are they were big hitters and they were in Dreamgirls. The performance that he gave in the season 4, episode 1 of SWAT was absolutely amazing. When he was crying, he made me cry. I cried this morning watching SWAT because he was taking us back to April 29th, 1992, which is just the verdicts, which is not actually Rodney King having his ass whooped, but that's the verdicts. April 29th, 1992. I know we all know where we were when April 29th, 1992 hit. I wasn't too far from Florence and Normandy, but he cried and I cried as he talked about, hey, because in the show they were remembering 1992 and how far the city had come since then. And he said, have we come anywhere? Like, we're still dying at their hands. What are we celebrating? And he, you know, I don't want to, like, he just gave a hell of a performance just in those few minutes. And I wound up crying. And then to make matters worse for me, you then go to Chicago Med, where they're showing the hospital situation like now, right? Like, you know, COVID-19 and all that's happening, and they're wearing the masks, and people can't get in to see their families. And, you know, there's a black man who's like a grandfather who they're going to take off the respirator. They can't give him ECMO. They're going to take him off the respirator. And then his wife is watching him die through an iPad, like literally through FaceTime. And I cried again. And I'm just like, yo, I haven't cried in a while. Like, I probably need to let some of these emotions out. But like, shit is sad right now. And, you know, when we're talking about us dying at the hands of racists and dying at the hands of law enforcement, usually racist law enforcement, but not always. And you look at the pandemic and how it's been handled, boy, is the deck stacked against us. And then I think about, you know, because I'm a new parent. You guys have all been, you know, parents for two of you longer than me, much longer than me, and then for Trey longer than me. I cried for her. Like, I don't want her to struggle in this world. But I can only control what I can control. And I'm sorry for taking us down this path, but I just got really sad this morning watching TV, watching regular shows that I watch all the time, and they've never made me cry. SWAT and Chicago Med. But today was just different because it was related to what we're actually going through right now. And what we're going through is effed up. That's all I have for that. I don't even know. That's not even a topic. I just wanted to let y'all know.
Well, only difference is now that we see it more often because of social media and cell phones. But my favorite show of all time to lighten the mood is Sanford and Son.
Okay.
And to speak on the topic is that it was a stab. It was a little stab in a joke, and that the police came to the house and I know it was an episode where Lamont was trying to get Red Fox to go to the doctor, and he says, "Don't you know that heart disease is the biggest killer of African Americans in this country?" He said, "I didn't know that. I thought it was the police." And you know, this was 1979,
right?
And you know, here we go, fast forward to 2020.
Yeah.
And they try to, you know, we get bombarded with the black on black crime when any crime is a crime. You don't have to call it black on black. This crime is a crime, and it's systemic. So it is very sad when you see nothing has changed and it's the same. And then it was even escalated with the last 4 years of it being justified and people going home with a slap on the hand for committing full-on murder in broad daylight. So it is concerning for us parents. That's why I'm so happy that we at least have a chance now to at least get the racists to go back in hiding and not be out in front with semi-automatic rifles threatening us, because we're not on their side. But the battle is not going to be over. I mean, those of us who are believers, we pray daily for protection and awareness and just the ability to see danger when it approaches. So I feel you, AC, that it is sad that we have to wake up. And you said you used the word plight earlier with UCLA football. I said that ain't no plight. That's just we just trash. But the plight of the black man is real. Like the plight. Like even when I'm on the freeway this morning taking my daughter to the airport to go back to Howard for a weekend so she could be with her friends, I have to consider me, black man, driving a truck. I can't wear my do-rag even though it's 4 a.m. I want my hair to be laid down. I can't wear my do-rag in my truck. They might think I'm somebody I'm not. So, just small things that we got to endure as black people. It has never subsided. I don't think it will ever leave, that we still have to be considerate. Like if we're all wearing masks, you don't have to be afraid of me wearing a mask. But say we weren't in a pandemic and I wore a mask. I walk in the store with a mask on. They think I'm going to rob the place.
Right.
It's just the small things that we have to deal with every single day that other folks don't. And they'll never understand it until they actually see us. And I think that's one of the best things that came out of the George Floyd incident, as tragic as it is that they finally get to see us again, that we are not crying wolf. We do have a legitimate problem in this country, and a lot of people have been turning a blind eye to it. So programs like you just mentioned that bring it up, that are bold enough to have a story like that and to put it out there and kind of like Dave Chappelle it, like put the spotlight back on you. You have the racial problem. We don't. Black people ain't trying to attack white people. It's been the other way around since Bible times. Like it's just bad. So I get what you're saying, man. And I think right now it's a great time to continue the conversation because now some people see us. Some people still ignore us, but most people see it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it kind of I posted the other day. Well, yesterday I think that, or can't remember when I posted it, but I just posted about This Is Us, and that show touched on.
That was today.
Yeah, Randall, who's a black male adopted by a white family, has been going through issues with his family based on all of this racial stuff that's going on in the world today, and he just finally explodes, saying, "We don't think the same because." Yes, I'm in your family, but I'm a black male and I've been holding this stuff in my whole life so that you wouldn't feel so uneasy with being my family. And now that I'm grown, all of this stuff is pouring out and he's like having all kind of mental issues, but he's relieving himself at the same time. So, that show has so many layers to it. It's deep. I like it when they look at things from a different approach, because that's a topic that needs to be had with black kids being adopted by white families and what they're being taught. People like, what's her name? Charisse Theron. There's no telling what she's teaching those children based on what we already see.
She let them dress. She let the little boy dress like a girl, and and she ain't combing the little girl's hair right. It's all bad.
Yeah, terrible.
And you can't say nothing to him. Like, what's wrong with this? It's like, well, you're emasculating the little boy before he has a chance to become a young man.
Right. Before he even tries to understand exactly who and what he is, she's already making that determination. That's what's sad.
You ain't black or a boy.
Yeah, you're just a fluid individual with no color lines. You're just fluid. Yeah,
It's interesting, man. It's a whole nother topic.
Right.
And we'll get shut down off Facebook. See, now you're going too far. You mess with the alphabet people, you're going too far. But leave that alone. Leave that alone. Leave that alone.
Yeah.
Because you can't don't talk about our Jewish brothers and sisters, and don't talk about the alphabet people. You can talk about brothers and sisters all day long.
Right. Yeah. And most of those other groups use causes for their benefit.
So, but just let me be clear, just so that there is no confusion. We're talking about a child who is not making their own decisions at this point. When you are old enough, whatever that age is, when you can make your own decisions, have at it. But what I'm saying is, when you are not able to make those decisions, and those decisions are being made for you, and you're being led in a direction, that's something, and that could be any direction that it could be.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like,
is that considered child abuse?
Right.
It's like getting a kid a tattoo. They don't know if they want that thing forever.
Right.
I think,
or even continuing to feed a kid junk food who's already clearly obese.
Oh,
well, he likes cake.
Of course.
Well, yeah. But, that 8-year-old kid shouldn't be weighing 230. He's 8 years old. He weighs 230, and you keep giving him cake.
Yeah, I had a friend like that, man. Haven't talked to her in a while. I hope her daughter's doing way better than she was. She was 5 years old. And, when you pick your daughter up from kindergarten, usually take them because they get out at like 12, 1 o'clock. You take them, get something to eat or something like that. She would always take her to McDonald's and get her soda. And I used to be like, why are you doing this? And she said, because that's what she wants and that's what she asked for. She knows no better. You should have never started this.
Mm-hmm.
And she was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it got to the point, if I was with her and we went and picked her up from school, at that point, I was like, all right, guys, where are we going to eat? I'm taking you guys to eat because you're not going to sit and do this to this child in front of me. What you do to your child and I'm not there, I have no control over. But I was like, we're not going to McDonald's and getting a Happy Meal with a soda. And you're 5 years old every day.
Dark soda.
Coke.
Just full of caffeine, bouncing off the walls when they get to school.
Yeah, Coke.
Teeth rotting, getting fat, and then you get the steroid chicken nuggets.
Yeah, exactly.
Little boy got breasts.
Yeah.
Little girl grown at 13.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all, it goes back to Reagan. Like Rod said, maybe he was right. Reaganomics not only brought crack,
right,
but them daggone Happy Meals.
And killed all of those programs that we used to enjoy. I mean, Cobbs, you remember when, the buses used to come through Long Beach at every park and take all the kids to Cal State Long Beach. And they had a program set up where you were there all day. And you were in the classroom for a minute. They might have went over some little math stuff and gave you some worksheets to do. And then you just had, activities. Well, some days you went swimming in the pool. Some days they had track meets and they played flag football or they played basketball on the basketball courts. But parents didn't have to worry about their child from 8 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
That was all Jimmy Carter's, right?
The whole summer. Yeah, Jimmy Carter put it in and Reagan took it all out.
All the programs, man. Free lunch.
All of the programs.
Programs at the park where you had something to do all year long. Free lunch, breakfast, and actual competent staff. Like every park I went to had staff.
Right.
So we weren't ever unsupervised. We had free swimming, free basketball, free football. Everything was at the park, and it kept a lot of us out of trouble.
Yeah.
And then
Older teenagers, those were jobs. Like
Yeah.
you got a job permit, and you 16, 17, you haven't graduated from high school. You were, one of the assistants or supervisors that helped make sure that the kids were lined up and got lunches and all that kind of stuff. And you made your I can't remember what minimum wage back then was, but it was what, like
40 cents. 40 cents.
I know when AC was coming up, it was like a nickel, and you could buy like bread, milk, and
we were talking about the other day, right?
Gas.
How much was bus fare when you started riding the bus by yourself? It was 20 cents.
I remember the Big Blue bus was 10 cents. Then if you wanted a transfer, it was it was 25 cents. If you wanted a transfer, it was another dime.
Yeah, the transfer was always cheaper.
Yeah, it was a dime.
And you could ride all day if you just kept putting a nickel in there and get
You said on a Big Blue bus?
The number one came on my street on Easy Avenue in Long Beach. The number one bus.
Well, the RTD was like yellow and orange, and they had weird colors.
And it was also RTD.
Rough, Tough, and Dangerous, where it was like 75 cents to ride that.
Yeah, RTD was a little more expensive.
Yeah, it was 50. I rode it actually pretty darn young. Yeah, it was 35 cents, and then it was 50 cents, and it was 50 cents, and then 10 cents for a transfer. But Trey, the green bus, which is Culver City, was a quarter for a long time, and you didn't have to pay for a transfer at all.
Oh, wow.
You paid to get on the bus, and you needed a transfer, but you got the transfer for free.
You can ride all day long for 25 cents.
And my cousins, and I don't claim a lot of my family, but it is what it is. My cousins,
it's dirty. We can't come together. We can't have no unity in the families. You want America to mend. You can't. The Carter family is divided.
That's a whole nother topic.
My cousin's dad.
Get your little money. Look how you act. Get a little money. Let me hold something.
My cousin's dad was back then I said bus driver, but was an operator for RTD. So she had an annual pass. Now I had an annual pass too, but I paid for it. My annual pass was $60. Well, my mom paid for it. No. In the beginning, it was like $30. No, you know what it was? It was a monthly pass, and it was like $8 or something like that. But she had an annual pass, and it was laminated and all beautiful and stuff, and she didn't pay anything because her dad was a bus operator. I thought that was so cool, and she didn't even ride the bus. I'm like, what a waste. I pay for the bus, and you don't even ride the bus.
It cost $7, I think, $7 or $8, and you would go to like cashing or something and get the sticker, and they would put on your bus pass.
Yeah. So let's go back to when I was heavily riding the bus, and I used to go to Trey's house. One year I went to Trey's house, and I don't remember which year it was. Whichever year Nintendo came out, I went to Trey's house on Christmas Eve on the bus and hung out with him until I want to say like 8 p.m. and then got on the bus and went home to the living hell neighborhood that I lived in on 95th and Hoover, 714 West 95th Street. So that was an adventure once I got off the bus on Vermont and then had to walk through my neighborhood to get home on Christmas Eve. But yeah, I used to catch the bus everywhere. What'd you say, Rod?
Especially when you banging from the other side.
So I lived in an interesting neighborhood where you had Hoovers that roamed, but not. It was actually 9-0 hood, but then you had Hoovers around there too. And of course, I wasn't anything. But yeah, it was interesting. And you know, the funniest thing that I encountered was there were these twins that lived down the street, and they had the big cousin's name was Kevin. And then the twins were Maurice and Marcus, pretty close to the basketball twins' names, right? But Maurice and Marcus, and Kevin decided he wanted to fight me one day. but he was the older one. He was older than all of us. But Kevin,
just want to fight you on GP.
You what?
Just
yeah,
wanted to
on
fight
GP. Yeah, he wanted to fight me on GP.
He wanted to fight because he had a ducktail.
He wanted to fight me because I had a ducktail. Listen, so I was coming home from Bret Hart, which was the junior high across the street, and we were over there playing basketball. No, we were playing baseball. So I come across the street. He sucker hits me with one of them plastic bats. I turn around and punch him, but then his two cousins come and grab me, and they're holding me, and then he's supposed to beat me up, but they weren't holding my arms very well, and I can kick, so I still wound up whipping his ass. So the funniest thing was years later, I see this motherfucker. He's in the band at SC. He's in the band at SC, and so he's at UCLA, and I'm in the student section at this point for a basketball game, and he's there, and I was like, "Hey, Kevin, never thought we would be adults, huh?" And he's like, "My name is not Kevin." "No, your name is Kevin. You're Kevin. Why are you scared now, Kevin? You know, the last time I saw you, I don't know what happened, but it's almost like I never saw him again after I whooped his ass." And we moved soon after that. We moved to,
you can't find nobody in a band suit, man.
He was in the band, and at SC, yeah, I think he was on the cymbals, Trey. I think he was. I'm like, dude, my house of mighty have fallen.
He wasn't even an important band member.
Anyway,
Right.
He was the worst of the band members, like the only guy with no skills.
man,
The whole song just.
yeah. Anyway,
nothing worse than a thug with a pass.
yeah. Or one of the thugs that has to grow up. That's the one right there. And I was at school. It's not like I caught him at a restaurant or something. I was at school. So he was in no danger at all. But he didn't know he was in no danger because I gave him the look and flinched at him and all of that. And he was like, "Man, you are seriously not a tough guy anymore. What happened? Is it because your cousins are not here? What's going on, fella? What's going on, fella?" Anyway, listen.
Dovetail. 30-year-old beef.
It wasn't. All right, I think you're taking a shot. Hold on. I was like 10, and then at UCLA, I got there at 16. I think at the time I saw him, I was like 17. So it wasn't that far away. But we were different people, right? Like I hadn't thought about him since then, but I'd never forget his face. Like I'll know him now, and I wouldn't know his cousins, but I definitely know him. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Listen, I'm a little nervous. So just closing out the first thing we talked about. I'm a little nervous about what your boy can do in his final, how many weeks? 11 weeks. His final 11 weeks in office, I feel like he can do some damage. And I hope that people step in and stop him from doing more damage than he's already done. As far as sports are concerned, I think NBA got through it with no positives, right? In the bubble, no positives. Baseball almost got through the playoffs with no positives, but JT showed up and changed that. And I'm just talking about the playoffs because obviously there were plenty of positives throughout the regular season. The NFL can't get through it. College football can't get through it. The NWSL, the National Women's Soccer League, was the first to get through a bubble, and they got through it with no positives ever. I don't know what's going to happen to sports. It's fun to watch and all that, and a lot of times it's calming and it gives us something to talk about and laugh about. And where else can you joke and laugh about a team just coming from the Super Bowl and being being 500 but being considered horrible, and I agree they're horrible, but being 500 and being considered horrible, and then the sub 500 team is at first in their division, and people can brag about that. It's a weird sports year. But yeah, I support my brethren, so go Raiders, go Eagles. Hope y'all continue to do well. The Chargers can't win a close game to save their lives. I think Anthony Lynn is in danger, and I really like him.
They're gonna win this week.
That's not gonna be enough. But
who are they gonna get? Like the team plays hard, they just can't win in the end. Is that?
I hope that. Well, we've never had faith in Chargers decision making for a long term, but I hope that they understand what you're saying. But I stopped watching the NFL because I can't take it because we are really bad. And the funny thing is, I wear my NFL shorts every Sunday. Like once I get back from my run, that I take my run in my 49er long sleeve shirt, and then I come home and shower and put on my little NFL stuff and hope for the best. And the best has been horrible. So, baseball was great. Basketball was decent. Baseball was great. Basketball was decent. Who knows what's happening in the NFL? I never go for Drew Brees, but boy, was I happy to see the result of that game, even though I didn't watch the game. Just because, anytime that, things like that happen when people are trying to coronate people as the greatest that ever lived while they're still playing. And I feel like they never did that for other people. Like we never talked about Magic being the greatest that ever lived while he was still playing. We didn't get that with Kobe, but we get that with certain people. And the six Super Bowl championships are hard to argue with, but just let that man finish, and then we can talk about that. And then we say that about your boy in Green Bay. Why? Again, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but hi.
It was nice to see Tom Brady lose the same week as 45.
Bam. Bam. But look, you know what's better than all of that? He voted. Wait. Bam, he voted. We all voted. We don't have to talk about who we voted for, who we didn't vote for. We voted. Our voices counted. For those of you who think your voices don't count, listen, I can't keep counseling you. I can't. I got nothing for you. The votes count. And guess what? If you didn't vote and you don't like the result, that's your fault. I told y'all that in 2016. Anyway, moving on. You guys have anything else about sports before we go to the closeout?
The Masters are playing. I might go play me a round of golf at some point.
Okay.
Tiger is up there too. He's in the top.
He's not playing bad. I don't know if he's going to catch these boys. These guys seven under, first day. So I'm not sure if y'all play golf, but I'm gonna go out there and shoot me a round or two at the local little 9-hole.
Did you see on? I didn't catch who it was, but as soon as I turned my TV on the other day, playing golf, hit it across the water, skated across the water.
Did he shoot that on purpose? Was that was a shank? He shanked it.
The best shot ever.
Shanked it and got it a hole in one. That wasn't him.
Bounced on the water 2-3 times, danced across the water. It was beautiful.
He had angels hoping that ball, like holding it across.
The ball was playing Frogger. It was hitting the alligator's back or something.
Let you try something like that. That ball going underwater.
So for those of us that were fortunate enough to learn basketball and play basketball, we know like you got to call bank. But Rodney, where did that come from? Since we know that you helped Naismith create basketball, what did you guys call that thing? If it ricocheted and then fell in the peach basket,
it was a trick shot at first.
All right, man. Listen.
Just before the alley-oop was invented, we invented the bank shot.
Bam. Listen, episode 37 live, episode 37 of the Collective Podcast. At some point, I'm gonna get these archives back up on Spotify and what's the other one? where do I upload it? What's the thing? Anchor and Spotify, and get them right on YouTube. I've just been doing a lot of other things, but I'll get everything in there, get the artwork up. I appreciate everybody tuning in, everybody listening, everybody playing it back, everybody watching the replay. Thanks for those that came on and commented. Thank you to Anthony Cobbs for coming on and joining us one more time. AC, other than as a special guest every week on the Collective Podcast, where can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook and YouTube, AC Sports Live, and AC Media Sports on Instagram. On Tuesday nights at 9, and Friday nights I'm on 1585 with Jimmy Mack and myself on the 1585 show on Facebook exclusively.
Okay. Well, Rodney's got to talk to you because Trey made a proposal when you dropped off. So Rodney will talk to you about something that an idea we have, but they can do that later. Trey, we know where we can find you. We can find you here, Trey Hop. Rodney, Baby Hair 562. He doesn't know his name on YouTube. I mean, not on YouTube. He doesn't know his name on Twitter. But here's the big thing. Where else can you find Rodney? The Old Testament. So shout out to Rodney for joining us. Anthony, go ahead and close out. Give us your close out.
Man, I don't have a whole lot. It's just I think Rodney and I lost a fellow homeboy, Mike. And I believe I got to go to a service tomorrow for Jimmy Hicks from Long Beach Wilson tomorrow. And then next week we have our boy Keith Slice's services. So again, man, take care of yourselves, man. Drink your water, brothers. And, keep an eye on your health as we get older in age. If you don't like going to the doctor like myself, you must take care of yourself as best as you can. And I'm going to start trying to drink 3 of these a day. As they say, you're supposed to drink. My wife said half your body weight. I said in pounds. She was like, no, in ounces. I'm like, oh, whew, I can do that. I can do that, man. So y'all take care of yourselves, man. I'll see y'all next time. I appreciate the invite, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, AC Sports Live. Trey. Oh, and by the way, AC just made me think of this. Yeah, drink your water. And if you want an alkaline water machine, I have those too.
Oh man, you're a hustle man.
I've never sold one, but because I bought one, I can sell them. So that's the funny thing. I never remember that. Trey, close out.
The original Sweet Lenny from Good Times.
Yeah, man. It seems like it's this time of the year. Just to go off with Cobbs, man, I got a call this morning that my cousin, one of the twins, lost one of their really good friends, which over the years he came like a little brother to me. His name was Ryan Franks, and really cool dude, man. You guys could just say a prayer for the Franks family. He's been battling a couple of health issues the last few years, but I called my cousin this morning. She's taking it kind of hard. And people that you talk to all the time, if they move away, still keep in contact with them. You know what I mean? Keep those relationships. If you think about somebody, call them. Because my cousin came to my house on Halloween, and I had just asked her about him. How is he doing? She said, I got to give him a call. And here's the call. And you know what I mean? I'm like, I asked about him. I could have called him. She said she was going to call him. Never got a chance, just because we get caught up in the daily activities. So, yeah, man, like I said, just say a prayer for the Franks family. Ryan is a dude. He was always prayed up. He always wanted well for everybody. And to lose a young, beautiful soul like that, man, it really hits home. So, yeah, that's it, man. Everybody else, just wear your mask. These cases are real. They're really spiking up. And, yeah, let's just pray for change in our country, man. It's got to get better. It's got to get better, man. And there's better days ahead. Just stay positive. That's it.
Yeah, Trey, I saw that. So I have prayed for the twins and for the Franks family. I didn't know him, but I saw that post this morning, and commented, and I was going to ask you actually, who he was. I could see that they were close to him, but I didn't know who he was. And then he and I had some mutual friends outside of the twins and outside of you guys, and I was like, oh, this is it. But I didn't know him. So I was going to ask you about that, but then you just shared. So yeah, that's really sad. Well, yeah, so it's
Methuselah. It's Methuselah's turn.
Yeah.
Hey man, when Trey putting on something serious, man, you can't keep cracking the jokes, and I'm trying to hold it in, but listen to what he's talking about, man.
I was just about to say, let me remove Rodney Caldwell Pope because Trey just said something sad, but then Anthony Cobb didn't hold back. So there you go.
No, we gonna pray for those who have lost loved ones, but Methuselah is up.
Right.
What you got, Norbit?
Hey man, I just want to say the last time we left off, I said I was hoping that we had a new person in office. We accomplished that. I'm thankful to all 70 plus million people who voted to get him out. Those other people, I have to look at with a side eye and just pray for them, because nothing we can do and nothing we can say that will change their minds. Secondly, yeah, I want to also give a shout out to Michael Vaughn's family, man. Was a beast on the football field. I went to Poly with him. He was ahead of me by a year or two, but could hit with the best of them. Then played for UNLV, did well there. And I haven't seen him since high school. I watched him play, from afar, but I haven't seen him. But, he was definitely a really good brother who, was really close friends with my brother Kenny, who graduated with him at Poly, and he'll definitely be missed. Keep your health up. Again, as Cobbs was saying, drink water. I know that being over 50 now more than anything. I've seen several of my family members have kidney stones. They drink water, but they don't drink enough water. There's a difference. A lot of people drink water and they drink a nice amount, but you really have to drink a lot of water. And your body tells you things, and it's up to you to listen. Drink a lot of water. Hit AC with the alkaline machines because they work wonders. Stay safe, and let's wait and see what happens this week.
All right. Since you guys mentioned it, I'm just going to give the update. You guys have mentioned it a couple times. Here's where we are currently with the popular vote. This is real time. 77,327,966 for President-elect Joe Biden versus 72,182,735 for number 45. So currently that's plus 5.4 million plus for Biden, or the spread is 5.4 million plus right now. So again, most votes in history in any election, most votes in history for Biden, but unfortunately, second most votes in history for 45. So that's still scary.
Aren't there like 300 million adults in America?
It's something like that, and they say that the turnout was like 67%. So
that's not counting kids. I'm thinking like there's still a lot of people out there that don't vote.
Oh yeah.
A huge number.
Yeah, a huge number. Because this is just, this is 50.8% to 47.5% of those who voted. But if we look at, overall in the country, if only 60% of people voted or 65% of people voted, then it's more like 30% versus 25% of the population.
It should be 100 million votes every time there's an election.
Should be. Yeah. Well, fingers crossed that he go ahead and does a gentleman drop your king on the board and shake a hand, man. Quit finding. I think he's trying to fight jail time, man. Honestly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you for bringing that back. So here, before my closeout, good point, and that's what I was going to say to you, Rod. Oh no, Trey, who said he might run again. That dude might be in prison, when it's time to run again in 2024. But here's my closeout.
Say your prayers.
I watched, yes, yeah, right. I watched a lot of ABC, but even more CNN throughout the election, and I really got to know a couple of personalities on CNN, Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo, and I got to see the friendship between the two of them. Don Lemon's a brother. Chris Cuomo is white, and he's also Andrew Cuomo's brother. So I didn't know. I heard of Don Lemon before, but I never watched him. And I'm gonna tell you, I like my TV, but I'm gonna let you guys know that those two shows, what is it? CNN Primetime with Chris Cuomo and CNN Tonight with Don Lemon are two shows that I now watch daily, just to get some additional perspective on what's going on out there. And I'm not saying I believe everything I hear, everything I see, but you got to get your information from somewhere to then break it down. And I do a lot of reading, and I don't do much watching, or I hadn't done much watching as it pertains to news, but now I'm watching them, and I'm enjoying getting the information. I'm enjoying the other people that are coming on, and it's not one-sided. There's a lot of really good information there. So I've had a ball watching those two shows. I just wanted to share that. As far as my closeout is concerned, my daughter just turned 3. She actually turned 3 last week on Super Tuesday. We had a ball at SeaWorld, which is in San Diego. And my daughter is back in school. And it's a really interesting school concept. Her classroom has, 8 kids in it. No adults other than the teachers are allowed on campus. So you drop your kid off, you're masked up, teachers and administrators are masked up, you drop your kid off, they go into the school, you can't see what's going on in there. And I pray, many times per day that everything is okay. My daughter is wise beyond her years and has a pretty good understanding of what's going on in the world. And so she knows about social distancing. She knows about wearing her mask, even though she just turned 3. But to Trey's point today, and Rod and Anthony's point every other time, stay as safe as you can. But, we can control a lot of what's happening by remaining safe and keeping other people out of danger. It's just the key. Like, I'm not going to be anywhere on Thanksgiving. I'm driving to Compton to pick up my fried turkey from Loretto, my fried turkey and my lemon cake, and I'm coming back to the house. And I'll be here watching football. Hopefully the 49ers don't play on Thanksgiving, because it would be a loss. And I don't want to see that. But I will be watching those 3 games, and I'll have my fried turkey and my lemon cake. Hang out with my family.
Losing.
What'd you say?
Said the Cowboys should be losing.
That's an NFC East joke. I hate the Cowboys too, because I'm a 49er fan, but right. I can't say anything about anyone this year. So I'm not saying anything. I just said, good luck to the Raiders and good luck to the Eagles. And Trey, you are the poorest sport I'm friends with. So I should never say, congrats to the Eagles or go Eagles, because you're a terrible sport. But I figure if my team can't do well, let one of y'all teams do well, or both of y'all teams do well. So I won't be so nice next time around. I need you to be a better sport. That being said, I don't have a lot of friends. I've got acquaintances. I've got people who I hang with sometimes, but not many people have made the cut. And when you look at this group of individuals that is the Collective Podcast, and then you add in Anthony Cobbs, who I never hung out with, but we knew each other in school, and then we've been Facebook friends since then, and then we have the liaison in Old Man Rod. this is genuine. Like like I said, Rodney and I are going back and forth, but we can have discussions, and we don't have to agree. We don't even agree sometimes when we're talking basketball plays, but we don't have to agree. We don't agree on all the football plays when we're talking about officiating mechanics. Well, we agree on mechanics. We don't always agree on the play, how it was called, what judgment was used, but we get beyond that and we have meaningful conversations, meaningful dialogue. We genuinely care about each other. Again, Trey is a very poor sport when it comes to his team winning or losing, but I genuinely love him. He's my brother. Like, and as he likes to say, it's my oldest friend. I got some friends that have been around longer than him, but when you talk about consistently, and the love that's there, I would probably pull Trey out of the burning building before any of the others, just because of the consistency there. So much love to my two co-hosts and much love to my regular guest co-host. I appreciate you guys. Be safe. Your families are in my prayers. You guys are in my prayers. I hope that you guys succeed in every darn endeavor you embark on. And I just want to let you guys know that I really appreciate you. Okay.
Appreciate that.
Thank you for listening to and watching the Collective Podcast. This was episode 37 live. We out.
James Harden going to the New Jersey Nets.
Is that breaking news? Oh,
that's what Kendrick Perkins just said. That means it ain't news. It's just hearsay. That's also next week's show.
Okay. Yep. Well, everybody there, they're co-coaches, so it could be. They have
Steve Nash has
the collective coaching staff. All right, y'all. We out.
All right.